And we're recording. Okay. So have any props nearby and have any wall or sturdy furniture nearby that you want to have for part of this practice. And then if there's a part of the body that you'd like me to focus on, just point to it or unmute and let me know. Is there anything in particular? Hips, okay. Anything else? All right. All right, we're gonna do a pretty well-rounded practice today because we've got one recording that focuses on shoulders and one that focuses on hips. So hopefully today we will get the one that's just a good all-around practice. So let's begin on our backs. If you don't want me to see you on the floor, you can just leave the camera as it is. But if you do want me to be able to see your form, then tip this camera down a little bit. I know it's harder on an iPad, but tip it down so I can see you when you're on the floor. And later on, we'll come back up. Okay. All right. So as you come down onto your back, find a neutral spine here. Find a steady, even breath. Or better yet, before you do anything with your breath, just notice it as it is. Notice the inhale and the exhale. Notice which parts of the body you feel moving. And then begin to slow down your breathing. Start with an exhale. Let the exhalation get very long. Inhale through the nose and let yourself expand, enough that you feel your back ribs expanding into the mat. As you exhale, let the belly relax. Don't worry about how long your inhalations are. Focus on lengthening your exhalation just a little each time. And there's no rush. Two more times. Allow the exhalation to become longer. Allow perhaps even a little pause at the end of the exhalation. Now on your next inhalation, lift up your right leg, bring that shin to a tabletop position. And as you exhale, start to circle that right ankle a few times. Just the ankle. Now bring your right hand to your knee. Hug that right knee in a little closer to your chest. Feel how that changes the lower back. As you inhale, move that right knee away from you. And as you exhale, draw it in towards you. Inhale, move it away. Exhale, draw it in towards you. One more time, just noticing the dynamic of the leg and the low back. Watch what happens as you move the leg. And then take a moment, bring that right leg back to a tabletop shin. So the shin is parallel to the floor. Keep that right leg completely still. And as you exhale, just use your abdominals to press your lower back down into the mat. As you inhale, lift your lower back up. Find a little arch, a little tunnel under that low back. Exhale, press it down low again. Inhale, lift it up, finding a little back bend. Exhale, press it down. Now inhale to a neutral low back, and that might take a little fidgeting, just find neutral. When you're ready to exhale, really engage your deep core. Lift your pelvic floor, draw in your lower abdominals, and then lift your left leg up to meet your right leg. If your low back feels strained, bring these knees in a little closer to your chest. But if you can sustain the tabletop position with your knees further away from you, inhale here, expand. And as you exhale now, engage those deep abdominals, stretch that right leg up towards the ceiling. Inhale, bend it again, bring it back to the tabletop. Exhale, stretch that left leg up. Inhale as you bend. Exhale, brace the core, stretch that right leg. Inhale as you bend. Exhale, keep engaging, stretch that left leg. Inhale as you bend, good. Now slowly bring both feet back down to the floor. And as you relax the core, notice how everything feels. Consider your core to be made up of 4 main areas. At the bottom, you have the floor of your pelvis, a lot of muscles. At the top, you have your respiratory diaphragm. That's constantly moving as you breathe. As you inhale, you can feel that expansion. As you exhale, you've got a chance to expel that air and tighten up those 2 other areas for when we do more muscular work. So those 2 other areas, of course, are your abdominals and your lower back muscles. And there's a lot of interrelationship of these 4 main areas. So notice if 1 or 2 of those areas seem to do all the work for you. And then see if you can wake up the other ones as you slowly bring that left leg up to a tabletop shin. You're just going to circle that left ankle a few times. Stretch out the toes. And then choose your foot position so you can start to bring that left knee in towards you and then take it away. And notice if you're not really engaging your core, what happens in your low back and in your abdominals and with your pelvis, all of it's connected. What happens as a result of you just bringing that left knee in and then pushing that left knee away? Watch the default pattern. Keep the breath nice and steady. And then bring this left knee back to a tabletop position here. Yeah. Now, as you exhale, we're gonna press that lower back all the way down into the mat. Use your abdominals more than your leg. Inhale, lift that lower back up away from the mat. Try to keep your left leg really still. Exhale, press that lower back down. So a couple more times, just moving the low back and pelvis, but keeping the legs very steady. Now find that neutral lower back position. As you exhale, start with the base of your pelvis. Imagine bringing your sitting bones closer together. Then imagine bringing your front hip points closer together. That's your lower abdomen. Then start to lift that right leg up. Your back hip points even. You can button those as well to keep working those back muscles. But if they're overworking, bring your knees in a little closer to your chest. This will allow your back muscles to do less. As you become more proficient at finding the abdominals and the pelvic floor in this position, you can take the knees further away from you. And then we're just going to straighten one leg at a time. So as you exhale, brace the core, straighten one leg. Inhale as you bend it. Exhale as you straighten. Staying acutely aware of what's happening in the abdomen, in the low back, at the floor of your pelvis, and with that respiratory diaphragm. Now, if you want to make this harder, when you straighten one leg, you're going to take it a little closer to the floor. You've got to really start to brace here so that there's no strain. Exhale, brace the core, straighten the leg. You choose the angle, just one leg at a time. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. One more time on each side. Keeping the neck and the low back as neutral as you can. Good, and now keeping those legs in tabletop. Optional, put your feet up on a nice sturdy piece of furniture or a wall, and then cross your right ankle over your left knee. So the wall or the furniture is nice because now you're supported. If you're not using the wall or the furniture, you can use your arms to draw your legs in closer to you. Breathe here. See if you can reestablish that neutral spine. Sometimes the tailbone curls up towards the ceiling here and the low back flattens into the mat. We want to bring that low back to a more neutral position so that we're really getting into the hip as we breathe. One more good breath here. Good. And Lori, can you make sure that you hit that mute button? All right, everybody else, we're going to feet down to the floor, unwind, and then left ankle over the right knee. Place that right foot up on a wall or a piece of furniture for support, or use your arms and bring it in towards you, just enough to feel this stretch in the hip as you breathe. Relax the shoulders. Notice if the position has your low back pushing down into the floor. If it does, take those legs away from you enough to bring your low back to neutral. And then focus on your breath a few more times. Let the inhale expand you. And let the exhale either relax the belly or help you learn to engage that deep core. You get to choose. The exhalation is perfect for either of those functions. One more good breath here. And then as you exhale, slowly unwind the legs. Coming onto your side. Rolling towards me if it's helpful. Support your head with your bottom arm. And then bend your knees. Take your knees in line with your hips. So this is the one where we're going to start to lift through the waist and then press the knee down into the mat. And it's a very tiny movement. I'm exaggerating it here. Lift the hip up. So if this is new to you, bring it down and rest. And when you're ready, repeat. Lift it up. When you're ready, rest for a moment. The next time that we lift up, we'll be doing the same thing, lifting through the waist, lifting the hip, and then maybe stretch that top leg out. Yeah. Good. Now slowly lower it. So we're going to repeat the same movement, lifting the waist, lifting the hip, straightening that top leg, and then rotate that top leg to point up to the ceiling. There we go. Keep it rotated up towards the ceiling, and then slowly lower. So last time, we're going to lift the waist, lift the hip, and this time, if you're straightening the top leg, internally rotate it. And this is the weird one for a lot of us. We feel pigeon-toed. Take one more deep breath. And then slowly lower. Bend both of those knees and take them out in front of you. This is a nice place to put a prop in between the knees, especially if you have SI issues. Then keeping the knees a little bit spaced apart can be really helpful here for a twist. Reach your right arm up to the ceiling. Or sorry, top arm up to the ceiling. Bottom arm will still support your head as you open up your chest to the sky. A little twist. So keep spinning your navel in the same direction that your knees are pointing. So your knees, your hips, and your navel all stay very still. And it's only the ribs that are turning up to the ceiling as you twist. Breathing here. Slowly come back to your side, stacking your shoulders as well as the legs and the knees, and then climb up to your elbow. Good. Now, you may want to just put your hand between your knees, but if you are using a block or a rolled up blanket, then that prop can go in between your knees and just work a little bit of internal rotation on this top leg. Now, if you feel like it's going to cramp in the hip when you push the knee down and lift the heel up, then press your thumb into that little muscle that's doing the work. And you can, of course, come back down onto your arm if you prefer here and find this little internal rotation movement. Now, if you've been doing this with me many times and you know this internal rotation movement, you're going to bring your knees back to that side bridge position and continue lifting that foot into this internal rotation here. Yeah. Good. And then if you want to make this really challenging, because again, you've been doing this for a while, drive that elbow down, lift your waist, lift your hip, and keep doing that little bit of internal rotation. Yes. So top hand on the top hip will help you keep these hips nice and still so you don't wind up turning down at all. The hips stay stacked. And try this one more time. It's a tiny little movement. Lifting the back foot as you drive the top knee down. And then release, come down to the mat. And come to your elbows and your knees here. So take any props out of the way. Sit back towards a child's pose. And bring your forearms to parallel. Right. With those arms in parallel, and we did this the last time, so some of you are familiar with how much work this is about to be. Push your palms down into the mat and slowly straighten your arms without letting the elbows go wide. Yeah, there's the challenge. Now bring those elbows down, keep them squeezing in a little, like you've got a beach ball in between your elbows. That's it. So this is actually our first option, and you can stay with this because if you've never done this before, squeezing those elbows in as you lift and lower is very challenging. And your triceps are working particularly because you're doing this slowly. Yes, so you feel that slow lengthening of the tricep as you bend those elbows, and it has to work the whole way. So keep hugging those elbows in, so every time you land the elbows on the floor, your forearms are still parallel. And if you've been doing this and you want a harder variation, well, then you're going to walk your hands about 6 inches further forward and do the same thing. Your triceps now have to lengthen even more, and your core has to do a little more work to stabilize and stay neutral. Yeah, there we go. 3 more times in either of those positions, really slowly. Shaking means you're doing it right. Pain or strain in the joints, don't put up with that. But mere shaking, that tells you you're doing something new that could be very helpful. And the next time you come down, let's come all the way to the other side. So you're gonna lay all the way down on a new arm, new bottom arm, bend your knees. As you exhale, engage your waist, lift it up away from the floor, and then drive your bottom knee down so you can lift the hip a little. Yes. And then slowly lower whenever you need a little rest. Take a breath, make sure the shoulders and the neck stay relaxed, and engage through the deep core. Lift that hip once again. So just the bottom hip lifts. Shoulder stays relaxed. And then if you like, add on, straighten out that top leg. See if you can keep the hips nice and stacked and the leg parallel. Keep breathing. And then slowly lower that hip. So if you're using the top leg straight, we'll try different rotations now. And when you're ready, lift your waist, lift your hip. Keep that whole core area expanding and contracting. And then rotate that top leg so the knee and the toes point up to the ceiling as you hold. That's it. You're not holding your breath. You're just holding the position. One more good breath. And then slowly lower. Yes, you're doing wonderfully. So one more time. You're gonna wake up the core, lift your bottom hip, wake up those little hip muscles, and then if you're using the top leg option, you're gonna internally rotate. Make it pigeon-toed. Breathe. Good, slowly lower. Climb on up to your elbow. Good, press the floor away with that bottom elbow. Press your shoulder away from your ear here. Good, slowly lift that bottom hip. Breathing into this. Take any variations you like with that top arm and leg. And then slowly lower. Bring those knees out in front of you for your twist. You can prop the knees if you like to keep the legs parallel and come back down onto your elbow, or rather all the way down onto your shoulder, supporting your head with that bottom hand. Good, and once you have your knees far enough out in front of you, you'll open up your chest to the ceiling, reach that top arm out into your twist. Yeah, but as always, we're looking to minimize the twist in the low back. So again, be aware of how the core of your body feels. Can you keep your toes, your knees, and your navel all facing in the same direction? And then just open up the rib cage and the shoulder into the twist. So you feel this twist happening in the middle and upper back. Take another breath or two. And then slowly come back to your same side. Removing the prop from between your legs, coming onto elbows and knees. So we'll repeat those same two movements of pressing the floor away and then hugging the elbows in to drop them back down. So remember, the closer you keep your elbows, the easier this will be. So you can keep it nice and slow as you learn this movement. And then as you work the elbows and knees apart, it's going to feel harder, especially if you keep it slow. Good, bring that neck to neutral. So last three, choose your knee and elbow position, or keep your elbows down and try lifting the knees, coming into a dolphin position. Tiptoe your toes closer to your elbows, and then push the floor away. It does not matter if your elbows fully lift. Your triceps are going to learn a lot. Yes, even if it stays an isometric push, invisible. There you go. And now press your way into downward facing dog. Nice familiar down dog. Bending the knees. Slowing down the breath. 2 more times. Finding a nice neutral spine by keeping the knees bent at first, lifting the sitting bones up and back. Now, the next time you exhale, walk your hands to your feet. Come into spider hands here. Grip the floor a little bit with your spider hands. So your fingertips push and pull the floor as if you're kneading dough. Or like when you get to the beach and you start to stick your hands down into the sand just to feel the texture. That's what you're doing on your mat, waking up the grip. One more good breath here. When you're ready to exhale, this is one nice place to have the blocks if you're using them. You can put them out in front of you so you can step forward and lower that back knee. Now, of course, you're always welcome to lift that back knee, and we'll all be getting there soon. But if the knee feels pain being down on the floor, pat it or lift it. Otherwise, you'll have that back knee down and then lift your torso. Knees are at about 90 degrees here. Reach your arms out in front of you. And most of you have done this one with me before, and it's my new favorite twist. Inhale, right arm up. Keep the body long. So reaching the arm up like this is a way of lengthening the side of the body right before we twist. Exhale, take that arm back behind you. Twist your rib cage to the right. Inhale, take it up alongside your ear. And exhale to bring it back. Inhale, reach it up. Get long and tall through your spine. Then exhale, open it behind you, twisting your rib cage. Inhale, reach that right arm up. Exhale, take it out in front. Now, if you've done this many times and you'd like to speed it up, just use a long exhale to reach that right arm up and back, twisting your rib cage at the same time. Inhale as you take it forward. So your breath pattern, your pace, letting that arm sweep up and out behind you. So you're mobilizing the rib cage and the shoulder blades, but keeping the legs and the lower abdomen very stable and still. There we go. Now the next time you return forward, lift that back knee and plant that back heel on the ground. You can hop it out to the left a little bit to find more stability here. These are your warrior one legs. So from this position, inhale as you rise, warrior one. Steady, even breath here. Finding that ujjayi. Anchoring that back heel, reaching up tall through the side bodies. Now optional, add that same twist in. You'll glide your head back. Keep it where it belongs. Don't let it jut forward. Keep it gliding back. And as you exhale, twist to the right, opening the arms. You might not go as far as you did before. Inhale as you bring it up through center. So as you practice this, if you feel any twisting in the low back or in the knee, you're going too far. Don't expect to twist that far. So as you exhale, twist your rib cage to the right, but keep everything else as stable as you can. And that might mean your twist is smaller. 2 more times. Exhaling, twist to the right. That's it. Only as far as you can go, using just the rib cage and the arms. Last one. When you're ready to exhale, press into downward facing dog. Long inhale here. Exhale, walk your hands back towards your feet. Inhale up about halfway. Exhale, when you're ready, step that left foot forward. Use the blocks if they're helpful. And lower that back knee to 90-90 at the knees. Reach your arms out in front of you. As you inhale, reach that left arm up and get as tall through the spine as you can. Then exhale, twist your rib cage to the left. Now take a little peek at your left knee. Is it wobbling? Is it splaying out? Keep it stable. Maybe you even put your hand there. And then inhale that arm back up. Exhale it to center. So your breath pace, just noticing what does it take to stabilize the legs and the core as you rotate through the upper spine. And what if you start to picture rotating your lower body to the right each time you rotate your upper body to the left? When you're ready, lift that back knee, put that back heel down. Step that back heel out to the right a little bit if you want a more stable base. You're going to be separating your feet a little wider. And then reach the arms up, warrior one. Breathe. When you're ready, twist your rib cage to the left. Open up those arms. Now notice, is your back knee twisting at all? Stabilize it. That means your pelvis is still a little bit turned to the right, even though your rib cage is twisting left. What muscles do you need to stabilize your legs? So you might engage that right glute more. You might use your lower abdomen, knitting your front hip points together more. Maybe for this first one, you just take your hand to the outside of your thigh to help with that. Yeah. Maybe it's useful to keep your arms up overhead and see how far do you twist your rib cage if you're not even opening up the arms. One more time. Maybe you start to feel the inner leg hugging into the midline a little bit more to stabilize. And when you're ready, bring both palms down, step it back, downward facing dog. Take a long, slow breath here in downward facing dog. And then slowly bring your knees down, coming all the way down onto the mat. Rest your forehead on your hands for a moment. Wobble the pelvis a little, left to right, and just let it relax. Let the core of your body fully release. 2 more breaths here, relaxing the abdomen and the low back. Feel that expansion when you inhale. Let it all go as you exhale. Now inhale, slide your hands to cobra position alongside the chest. And as you exhale, just roll the shoulders a few times. Let your forehead stay low. Notice any differences between left and right as you roll. And now lift those shoulders up away from the mat. Push your hands down into the mat. Lift up just a little bit into your cobra. That's it. Slowly lower, re-engage through those deep abdominals. Inhale as you lift. Exhale as you lower. Good. Now keep going 3 more times. Hugging the elbows in towards the midline, much like we did before when we were doing that lifting and lowering of the elbows. Hug those elbows in towards the midline. And along with the squeezing in of the elbows, create a little isometric drag of the hands towards the feet. See if that wakes up a few of those upper back muscles. There you go. Try this last one by keeping the forehead down, very close to the mat, and only creating the action of elbows in, hands dragging towards the feet. Yes, it's almost invisible. Lifting the shoulders, but not really lifting the head yet. Yeah, now this feels good. For a lot of us, this is the main part of Cobra that we need. It's hugging the elbows in. It's a rotation of the upper arm, the invisible pulling back that wakes up those back muscles and widens the collarbones. If you like, add the lift of the chest and the head that we traditionally think of as Cobra. Yeah. And then bring it all the way down. Beautiful. Send your hips back towards child's pose. Keep your hips not quite as far to your heels as you normally do. And then open up your right arm like a wing. Let's just twist that underneath, nice and slow, dropping your head down either to the mat or to a prop like a block or a blanket. Let that right arm relax for a moment. Feel how your right shoulder blade is moving away from your spine, and that's okay. That's actually great. We want to stretch out those muscles that we've been engaging there. Now you can keep that right arm relaxed, or imagine you could grab hold of a rope and pull on it a little bit. Draw your right shoulder away from your right ear, and then do the same thing with your left arm. Stretch that out towards the front of your mat. Imagine you're going to take hold of a rope and draw the shoulder away from the ear. There you go. So now you're pulling with both arms. See if that allows you to turn the chest just a little more into this twist. And take one more breath. Slowly unwind, bringing both palms down. And we'll go the other way. Send the hips back a little. So typically when we start with the hips over the knees, we can wind up accidentally twisting a lot in the low back. So let's send the hips back partway to child's pose, and then open up that left arm. Thread it underneath, and rest the head for a moment. Relax the left arm. Keep breathing there as you relax the left arm and feel your breath move into that upper back area where the shoulder blade is moving away from the spine. You can keep this relaxed variation, or you can start to wake up your left arm like someone's throwing you a rope and pull on it, and let that help you pull your left shoulder away from your ear. Yeah, so keep that action of pulling with the left arm, plugging the left arm bone back into the socket. And then you can reach that right arm alongside your ear, like you're grabbing the top edge of your mat, and then pull there as well, drawing that right shoulder away from your ear. Breathe in, breathe out, plugging those arm bones into the shoulder sockets. One more time, breathe in. Breathe out. And then slowly release, coming to hands and knees, table position. As you exhale, lift your right foot up behind you and keep that right knee bent. Flex your right foot. Yeah. Now, notice how high can you lift that right heel? Like you want to push it into the ceiling. At a certain point, if that's your goal, you're going to begin bending in your low back. So just notice that. And then slowly bring that right knee all the way down. Take a moment here to feel what your lower back does in neutral. Now to keep that lower back neutral as you lift the right leg again, you're going to engage your abdominals. Keep engaging your abdominals. Keep that low back neutral. Bring that right leg up again. Right knee bent. Right foot flexed. Push that right heel into the ceiling like you want to make a dent, but use your abdominals at the same time so your low back doesn't bend at all. Yeah, so that heel might not go as high as it did before because you're using your abdominals here. That's it. Take one more deep breath. Feeling that right glute work along with your abdominals, and then slowly lower. Left leg up, knee bent, foot flexed. Take this one as high as you like and let your lower back bend as long as it doesn't hurt. So there it is, if you're endpoint focused. If you're focused on getting that foot high, then you're using your back. And bring that knee all the way down. That's not a bad thing. But we're going to do it differently this time by engaging the abdominals. And now when we lift that left knee, flex that left foot, the abdominals put on the brakes. And the left glute has to work harder because those low back muscles aren't allowed to take over. Now keep driving that left heel up with your left glute and keeping your abdominals engaged. One more good breath. Slowly bring it all the way down. Now you can repeat that just like we've done it, or add in the opposite arm. You're gonna lift one bent knee, stretch the opposite arm forward. Inhale, bring it all down. Exhale, lift that other knee. Maybe add an arm, but keep putting on the brakes. Inhale, bring it all down. Good, 2 more times on each side. So you might be used to doing stuff like this with weights. Right now, bring all of your conscious awareness to those 4 parts of your core. Keep them as stable and still as possible. So whether the next time you do this is with weights or without weights, your focus can be on staying totally neutral from the pelvis to the head. Now this time, lift that right leg up, bend that leg just like we've been doing, and then straighten it out. Migrate that foot all the way over to the left. Look over your left shoulder and breathe. So now you're scrunching up that left side of the body. From the hip to the rib is a little crunch. And then slowly bring it back through center. Set it down. Lift that left knee up as you exhale. Inhale, straighten out that left leg. And then as you exhale, let it float over to the right. Look over your right shoulder. Breathe here, feeling that little engagement or big engagement on the right side. From your hip to your rib. And then slowly take it back through center. Now keep your toes turned under as you come up to standing on your knees. Now, of course, if your knees don't like this position, come all the way up to standing. That's a good spot too. Take your hands to the base of your skull. Glide your head straight back. Let your head press back enough to feel like it's trying to get over your heels instead of your knees. Glide those elbows forward and take one more deep breath, aligning the head over the rib cage. And then slowly relax the arms, but keep the head back where you've placed it. Flip the feet so the tops of the feet press down now. The toenail side of the foot is on the floor. Good. As you exhale, engage the deep abdominals so the floor of the pelvis lifts, the abdominals pull in, and then squeeze your glutes. Lean back a little. That's it. Keep your head gliding back too. Lean back until you feel your quadriceps start to really fire up. But your glutes and your abs are working too. So there's no strain in the lower back. And you're not back bending into a camel. You're actually leaning back with a neutral spine. This is the position that we're in each time we walk down steps or down an incline. These quadriceps have got to lengthen as the abdominals and the glutes work. Now slowly bring it back up. We'll just do that 2 more times. You can pace it, slow or fast. But here's what has to happen. Pelvic floor, deep low abs, glutes. In that order, you're engaging all of these core areas plus the glutes. And then you lean back with this neutral spine. Maybe you reach the arms forward for a little counterweight. And you feel the thighs. Beautiful. Bring it all the way up. Now you can repeat that on your knees or bring it up to standing. If you choose to stand, we can make this a little more challenging still. So if you're standing, you're going to bend your knees a little bit. There you go. So either way, engage the deep abdominals and the pelvic floor. Engage your glutes. Start to squeeze as you lean back. If you're standing, bend your knees a little as you lean. Breathing here. One more breath. Slowly coming back up to center. From wherever you are, make your way to downward facing dog. One last time. This time, let's work on straightening the legs one at a time. Lift your kneecap as you straighten one leg, engaging those quadriceps. Lift the toes on that straightening leg too. Even if they don't lift off the floor, that's okay. Might be invisible, but you're lifting those toes. Yes, and then finally switch. Reach that other heel down. Watch the kneecap lift as you really engage the quads. Lift the toes on that foot. Reach the outer heel down just as much as the inner heel. That'll help keep the arch lifted. And then slowly pedal those heels as you come forward to a plank position. One knee bends, and then you switch. Wonderful. 3 more slow breaths, pedaling anywhere between down dog and plank. Feeling the center of the body strong. And then bring it all the way down. We're coming down to relax. So you can come onto your back, and you're again welcome to be near some wall or furniture, so that when you relax, you might put your legs up on your furniture or up the wall. Find a position in which your spine can completely relax. And before we let go of controlling the breathing, one last time, take your legs into that pigeon position. Right ankle over left knee. Drawing the legs in towards you just as much as you need to feel the stretch. And then gradually unwinding those legs, noticing any differences. Cross that left ankle over the right knee. Draw the legs in towards you as much as you need to feel this. And then when you're ready, unwind those legs. Put them in a position where they can fully relax. Take a long breath in through your nose. And let the exhale be longer. So when you come into a position where you can extend the exhalation and relax the body, notice the ways in which the breath is easy and the ways in which the breath is difficult each day. There are lots of factors that go into that. How much sleep we've had, how much caffeine, how much water, the various physical stressors and psychological stressors, the ways in which we've used our muscles throughout the practice, and the ways in which we habitually use those muscles of the core. There's no particular length that your exhalation needs to get to. If you use the method of counting during your exhalations, it's simply to observe, where is it getting longer? The entire process of letting the exhales get longer is what's benefiting the systems of your body. The numbers themselves don't matter. So give yourself some time to let the exhalations get long, and then let go of even that effort. For the last few minutes of your practice, let the breath be ordinary and let the body relax. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day.